Hey there, Bruce, and welcome back to the demo for Amnea 28. We're on to our next day in this spooky house thing, so let's carry on, shall we? What's that strange loud sound? Like an alarm clock? You've never heard an alarm clock before? After some struggle, I managed to open my eyes and only then remembered about the alarm clock. Having stopped the intrusive melody, I rolled onto my other side and pulled the blanket above my head. I really wanted to sleep after the mess we got into yesterday, and that's what I aimed to dedicate another few hours to. But it was turned off. I sat up abruptly, took my smartphone and found a perky sequence of alarms spaced at 5-minute intervals. What do I need so many for? One is more than enough. No, it really isn't. Especially since I hate being late, and was always waking up myself before a cheerful melody did it for me. Ugh. Now I'm wide awake and have nothing to do. Because of the accident, I'd completely forgotten to ask Eli about breakfast time, so I had no choice but to wait for someone to announce a general meeting. I didn't want to wake Deborah, and it was frightening to roam the hotel at the moment. I couldn't even unpack my bags since they were still in Vincent's car. With nothing else to do, I inspected our room. Eli probably took care of our living places beforehand, as it was clean. The first thing that caught my eye was a complete absence of modern tech. No air conditioning, no TV, the furniture all second-hand and antique looking, and the decorations on the walls a far cry from the latest fashions. The only tech present were the landline phone, the likes of which I hadn't seen in years, and the heater. I picked up a phone, but didn't hear phone beeps. Mysterious silence was no less a wonder than interference or any other unworldly sounds. It's like I'm in the past. But I liked it. The atmosphere in the room made you feel special, as if you were no longer merely you, but a seasoned traveller staying overnight in a new and unknown place. A long road awaited us, so it's a good idea to relax now. Stretch out in the soft blankets, stare at the ancient ceiling and listen to the trees outside the window. Caught in my dreams about wondrous adventures, I fell asleep. Beat it, we ain't deaf. I'm coming, damn it. Yeah. Oh no, it's you. Any particular reason your impudence is my eyesight so early? Because I'm a wonder to behold. Eli's cheerful voice has finally snapped me out of my dreams. I think I was dreaming of a tired traveller wandering along an old forest road, each step harder and harder because of the muddy mess beneath his feet. Good morning. Oh, you're awake. Wonderful. Now I won't have to kick you. No kicking me. Don't mind her, Lee. Deborah's hungry, so she's angry, so she's hangry. We'll fix this in a minute. Everyone's off to the dining room for breakfast. Awesome. Yesterday's fatigue had receded and the body was beginning to suspect it had been cruelly cheated out of the dinner that never came. But I'd like to change my clothes first. What's with our stuff? Don't panic, ladies. Your bags are safely extracted and brought here by yours truly. Though I had my doubts that 1001 Deborah's suitcases would fit into the beauty. Careful now, Ginger. Thanks, Eli. You're a lifesaver. No problemo. And the Jeep? Well, not exactly good. Can't get it running and there's no way I can get it out of the ravine. Why not call for a tow truck? Already done. It'll come in several days and take the Jeep somewhere into the city for repairs. Don't know when Vince's car will be good to ride again. So we have one less vehicle now? Don't worry, Beauty can take you home anytime. Deborah put on a sad face, showing how much she trusted Eli's old and not so reliable car. Focus on studies now, alright? But first, breakfast. Naturally. My stomach rumbled loudly. Thankfully, at the same moment, dogs barking came from the street. Alright, Eli, I've been meaning to ask. Does the professor have dogs? Yeah, loyal hellhounds of our recluse are living outside in the aviary. But don't fear, they're kind. Probably. Probably. What's the use of kind guard dogs? Who said they're guard ones? Eli giggled mysteriously, jumped down the corridor and pounded the next room's door. Definitely not lacking energy. No, he seems fun. Weirdly, the task of finding suitable clothes in my bag was nigh impossible. Most of them were so provocative I'd only wear them if I went insane. What was I thinking, bringing all these short dresses with me? Did Deborah's wardrobe find a way into my bags? Whatever. I'll just wear what I arrived in. There was no time for a proper unpacking, so we just cleaned up and immediately went to the ground floor. Others were already in the dining room drooling over the hot pancakes. I enjoyed seeing everyone's mood uplifted. Cordelia looked much better and no longer resembled a restless ghost. Breakfast flew by in a moment. Eli managed to run off after calling us into the lounge. He also added that from now on, it'll be our main base of operations. And by lounge, Eli meant the day room. My wild fantasy immediately drew a picture of tourists passing time by sitting near a fireplace or studying pamphlets. The spacious room easily accommodated our large group, and it looked very comfortable. I immediately got a nice idea of making myself comfortable on the sofa with a good book and a cup of hot chocolate. Muffled, creaky voice pulled me out of my sweet dreams. Finally, you're here. I've been waiting. The stranger spoke monotonously, and with an easily discernible degree of threat. You say you want to gnaw at the granite of science, but you're late on your first day. That won't do. At all. We couldn't see the speaker because of the armchair's back. Was it Nolan? That was the name of the psychology professor who agreed to help us with our assignment. Eli claimed that Nolan hated being addressed by surname and asked us to use only his first name. So is this actually him? Eli's mentor and the owner of Amnea? For disrespecting the master of the house, you shall be severely punished. But we didn't mean any harm. Sorry, Eli. Naive fool. You ain't good at impersonating. Come on. I've been putting effort in. Your gift hasn't been revealed yet. Honestly, it's a great surprise. I was greatly surprised at first, but your face is reflected in glass items on the fireplace. Ruined the surprise. You called us just for that? Not at all. So... Eli's voice becomes husky and lower again. Welcome to Amnea, dear guests. Let's resume our meeting. There are several important rules you need to know. I strongly recommend adhering to them. You do realize you aren't getting the necessary effect by sitting with your back to us. Oh, fine, so be it. Eli jumped up from the armchair, walked around it, and finally emerged in all his glory. Take a seat and get ready for the briefing. There are 3 main things on the agenda. We sat down wherever, having a large sofa and a couple of armchairs at our disposal. Eli stayed where he was, waiting to become the centre of our attention again. So, my dear newcomer friends, our goal here is crystal clear. To suffer as wicked man named Nolan fills our head with some smart stuff and other bits of his wisdom. Actually, it's interesting. You'll like it. Alas, the first lesson is delayed. First, being victims of the circumstances, you overslept. Second, Nolan suddenly realised that he isn't getting anywhere. So you'll only be able to make his acquaintance tomorrow. Capiche? Yes, sir. But we won't have to slack off the entire day, right? Of course, after all, you're here to study, not loaf around. The evil mastermind has given us some tasks, but we'll get to them later. The briefing is of the utmost importance. We'll hear it with pleasure. Cordelia applauded in support of Eli's solemn speech. He gave a slight bow. She always found joy in his antics and welcomed them by saying, "Wonderful, great idea, this will be great." Meanwhile, Eli continued his speech. I should have told you about the rules yesterday, but oh well. So the first rule, food is on schedule. I think I told you about it already. There is a teapot in the dining room. Use it at will. But no entering the kitchen for no reason. It's no playground. Gotcha. Kitchen's off limits. Joshini's eyes flashed as if he'd been given a conscious citizen's medal in advance. Second rule. Enter only open rooms, meaning lounge, library, dining room, and your rooms. Pay particular attention to the office on the first floor. It has a rather creepy black door. Ancient evil lurks behind it, and God forbid distracting it from its work. A long time ago, 1,000 years or so, it spent the nights in the bedroom on the ground floor, as a respectable owner of the hotel should. But its workaholism emerged victorious, and the evil has dug in the office. The evil? It's shameful to call your supervisor names. Hey, you haven't heard how he calls me. Seems like Nolan and I'll be fast friends. Hold on a minute, no conspiracies. The alliance of the red-haired witch and the ancient evil spells doom for me. Who do you just call a witch? No distractions. Right, where was I? Third rule. Especially important. No waltzing around the sanctuary at night. And even during daytime, it's best to tread carefully. Walk the main hiking trails, but don't stray from them. Get lost and I'll have to organise a search party with sniffer dogs, helicopters and an elite special forces team. We'll be careful, Eli. No need to worry the good people of the special forces. Well, it's up to you, right, Shen? Joshini put on an innocent face. What are you talking about? As if you don't know. Kidding, I understand everything. You won't have to evacuate me from the volcano crater with a broken leg. Are there any volcanoes, by the way? Luckily for us, no. It seemed to me like Joshini made a sigh of disappointment. So be careful around the sanctuary. Same goes for the territory near the hotel, just in case. There is another building nearby which is occupied by staff back in the days. Now yours truly resides there. You're always welcome to chat or hang out, but no breaking locked doors. Got it? Perfectly. I know, forbidden fruit is the sweetest, but control yourselves. I told you we got it. Even if you somehow get bored. Hold on a minute. Why do you have the feeling you're telling all this to me personally? I'm not just Jenny. Yeah? And who, may I wonder, loves scary tales and detests boredom, and will probably want to get somewhere she isn't supposed to be. Deborah feigned a fit of coughing. I'm always down to keep you company, Deb, just call. Are you sure you got everything? Otherwise, why was I going on about it for half an hour now? Yeah, we got it. Of course. Is that all, or do we need to know something else? I think that's it. At any rate, I don't recall anything else. If I remember something I've missed, I'll tell you later. There's no shortage of time. Just don't forget to be careful. Amnea is an old building, so some of it is even decrepit and shabby, and the wiring here is a disaster. Sometimes the lights go off by themselves. Oh. So the briefing is over? I should have brought my notebook from my bag. Then I would have been able to write important stuff down and not worry later about forgetting something. Briefing? Yes. My performance? No. Who would have thought? Where else would you be able to fully enjoy my charming voice, if not here and now? Eli batted his eyes at Deborah. She pretended to be sick. Vincent coughed. Another important thing I was wanting to talk about. Some biography of Amnea. It's good to know where you're at. Let's say a brief excursion into history. Interesting. Don't fail us now, Sir Guide. Yeah, I tried to look up Amnea on the net, but to no avail. I sense a dark story hidden from mere mortal's eyes. Ho ho, then hear me out. What happened there was... Eli's voice became mysterious and spooky. Oh right, take these pamphlets. He handed us old-looking pamphlets with a depiction of Amnea. Then once again he put a face of mystery on, and wished to unveil dark secrets of the universe. Amnea was built around 200 years ago when one rich family moved into this land. They were attracted by rumours about local air having wondrous healing properties. I took a look at the pamphlet. Amnea's founders wanted to be healed from something? Yes, seemingly someone in the family was struck with a mortifying, unexplainable illness, which bordered on madness. So they all took the family treasures, sold it, and built a house in the thicket of the forest, meaning there. Did this air actually help? Now we're getting to something really juicy. They've just settled down, just started taking the sicko to curative walks, and poof, they had mysteriously disappeared. Disappeared? Where to? Did something happen to them? Oh, now this I quite like. Make it good, Eli. I'm all ears. Nobody knows for certain what exactly happened. Poof, and that's it. The house is empty, like it was never inhabited in the first place. Eli lowered his voice to a half whisper. Then after a while it was discovered by researchers, ecologists, who have been searching the forest for unique plants, mushrooms and other stuff. They had proved the importance of the area as a unique nature resource and secured the status of wildlife sanctuary for it. And then while exploring nearby hills stumbled upon the family grave of the first owners. Deborah froze with her mouth open, an aberration of horror. Vincent and I exchanged looks. And what's most interesting, they found the bodies of all family members, except one. One had survived? Where did he go? Who knows, especially if he is the killer. Were there any signs of blows, or any other physical damage to the bodies? Were they actually buried, or did they simply fall into a pit and couldn't get out from? Is there any reason for someone to wish them dead? Well... I don't know the details, Sir Archaeologist. I took another look at the pamphlet. It did mention the burial place of the first owners, available to tourists with the secret trail tour. Sounds intriguing. At any rate, there are no bones now. They were all buried in another place, leaving the grave for the tourists and entertainment. Wonder if there are any ghosts around here. Might be worth taking a look. Ghosts don't exist. And have you forgotten what Eli said about wandering in the sanctuary? Just a few minutes ago, I should add. Back then I didn't know about the lost spirits moaning among the age-old trees and begging for peace. When did this story acquire such details? Were we talking about the killer? Too much time has passed for an accurate answer. There are no live witnesses. Is the professor descendant of these ecologists who discovered the house? Nah, reporters found out about the sanctuary and its wonderful sights, wrote an article about it, and then some cunning people decided to do business. Nolan's grandparents brought Amnea to its current state. They restored a bit here and there, and mostly didn't change anything to keep the unique atmosphere. Then they brought electricity, etc., etc. Nolan's parents had their hand in this as well. And then Amnea got closed, right? Nolan didn't want to take over the family business. Well, there was something dark and complicated. Best not to bring that up. Let's just say the business went bankrupt, and the sanctuary lost its patronage. So here it is, restless and touristless. At least Nolan has a place to dive into work. Peace and quiet. No one is bothering and distracting him. Get to the third important thing already. Ah, right. Usually Eli couldn't sit in one place and shifted his weight from foot to foot, as if he was late for something. All of his movements were abrupt, energetic, full of life. He was constantly either speaking or intensely gesticulating instead. His face wouldn't freeze for a second. I've never seen anyone's emotions being so distinctly explained with mere facial expression. But as soon as Eli got serious, he instantly calmed down and transformed into a different person. The transition was quick, but always hit the nail on the head. I've given you the introductory part, so you should have the picture of life in Amnea. Now let's get to the main part, lectures. Realizing the fun was over, we gathered and prepared to listen. Like I said, the morning lesson was cut off for reasons beyond our control, but it doesn't cancel your studies, so you still have to do some paperwork. The professor has prepared some task for us? Exactly so. These lessons will kill two birds with one stone. You will get credit, and Nolan will get data for his abstruse research. Capiche? Where's some lab rats? Is that it? Call it like that if you wish. You'll be simply passing some tests. Nolan will then analyze your answers, put in some complex chart, and draw conclusions that only he can understand. Nowadays, folks usually put some forms somewhere in the net and ask those passing by to pretty please fill them in. Nolan doesn't have enough data, so your help would be quite valuable. I see. We'll supplement the list of questioned folks, that's it? Yeah, right on. So no answering at random. Take it seriously. Yeah, bring the papers already. Such a passion for studying. Why wait? Sit down early, get up early. Done the job, take a walk, and so on and so forth. Oh, I too know a good proverb. What the eyes fear, the hands do. Well, it probably doesn't exactly fit. Who knows? Who knows? Come on, nothing scary there. Just a few forms. 500 questions each. How many now? 500 in overall. But first, I'll tell you about the definition of psychology. Can't we wait for the suitable teacher? I'm his assistant. Substitute. Don't worry. I'm an old hand at psychology, given how many years I've been studying it. Explaining the basics would be a walk in the park for me. Yeah, you made your point. But no big extraneous speeches. You're that eager to get to the tests. 500 questions. That'll take some time. But we need to analyze them ourselves. Is there any time limit? Do we need to sign the forms? Should we use a pen or a pencil? And so word by word we plunged into the learning process. No one cared anymore about ghosts, assassins, evil masterminds and proverbs. No one was distracted by trifles, instead asking Eli more and more questions. Eli told us brief information about the most obvious concepts that we should have already known from the lectures. He reminded us where psychology came from, what it is, and what it is eaten with. Explained the difference between applied psychology and practical psychology. What the hell. Let's get to the tests already. Cool. What is of the utmost interest to us in psychology? Human soul? A mess in our subconscious? Ways to understand others? And if we put it all together? Human. Precisely, human. The personality, behavior, activity, communication, emotions, all of this is human being. Me, you, even Demon Nolan. We are the most complex system, one that is rather difficult to understand. The tests I gave you are aimed at defining personality traits. Fill them, and somewhere in the afternoon we'll do an analysis of them. Eli waved his hand and almost dropped a lamp. Good luck, though 500 questions are a breeze. We dug into the test. It was named Personality Trait and Mental State. There were both usual questions, is it easy to get under your skin, with answers yes, no, rather no than yes, rather yes than no, not certain, and stalemating ones. For example, will you go to extreme lengths to prove your point if you're confident that you're right? Will I or won't I? After some thinking, I answered rather yes than no, and then pounced on the next question with gusto. I enjoyed studying psychology. No, not quite. I was struck to the core by the workings of the human mind. It contained a lot of mysteries, sometimes astonishing enough to make stories about them look like fairy tales. My thoughts began to drift away, and I hurriedly concentrated on the test. Ginger Sod lied to us, it's not 500. How many is it? 1,000. Given how carefully we weighed each answer, the test took several hours to complete. Everyone was exhausted, so when the papers were finally filed and put on a coffee table, a sense of triumphant jubilation swept over us. And now, food. And now for something completely different. After lunch, Eli disappeared on business without giving any new assignments. There was nothing to do, so everyone decided to take a little break. Personally, I was going to walk around the hotel and have a proper look around. After all, Amnea was a legacy from the old days. However, once I was alone in the middle of an empty corridor, I felt a prick of anxiety as I rubbed my slightly frozen hands. Time-worn wood, empty flower vases and stunted carpet gave the impression of a mysterious antiquity that was both alluring and frightening. It seemed like Amnea was getting to know me, cautiously showing her inner side and monitoring my reaction to the usual surroundings. Eli's horror story about the founders of Amnea made a stronger impression on me than I thought. Having put myself together, I went to explore the hotel, concentrating on the ground floor rooms for starters. Library, lounge, bedroom, office, lobby, dining room. Pantry. That's a big pantry, man. Oh, we can pick? Dude. Which ones are we not allowed to go to? We're not allowed to go to office, right? Can we go to the library? They said anything that's open, right? Lounge? Lounge, or main hall, is the hotel centre. All inhabitants would go there sooner or later to wait for tours, the dining room's opening hour, transport's arrival, or other stuff. It's also a nice place to relax, stretch your legs near the working fireplace, enjoy the sounds of forest, which came through the even closed windows. At least, that's what it was before. Now it's our temporary headquarters, base of operations, studying room, and a place to have fun. Weird that Eli hasn't put on a big HQ plate there. Although no, that's too boring. Secret strategic HQ for developing fun. Sounds much better. Or something like that. What are you thinking about, Lee? About weird names? No matter. Taking a break? Something like that. Tests turned out to be rather endless. Vincent was sitting on a sofa, a large red suitcase spread out on his lap. Is that first aid kit? Yes. Finally got time to see what we're dealing with. I curiously looked inside the suitcase. There were pills, bandages, plasters, scissors, thermometer, and a lot of other useful things. Everything carefully folded. Wow, so many things. Guess how many items are in our first aid kit? I mentally listed bandages, the most famous medicine, cotton wool, tourniquet, and then I got confused. 20? 58. So much? I looked at the suitcase with even more respect. Alas, medicine stored there is around 10 years old. But it's safe to use, right? Only the painkillers. Professor had it in abundance. Good thing I took my first aid kit from the car. Without a doubt. Once again, I thank the heavens that we made it out of the accident with a mere fright and a few bruises. And then I remembered something. Look, I've been meaning to ask you about yesterday, about concussion symptoms. Does something bother you? The head. I told you, come straight to me if anything happens. He began to reprimand me with such enthusiasm and genuine medical indignation that I felt a twinge of guilt. And only then realised I was neither wounded nor hiding something important. No, wait, I'm fine. I want to live a little longer myself. I wouldn't hold anything back. Vincent carefully examined my honest and confident face and then sighed deeply. Good, because someone has already caused me more moral trauma by ignoring visits to the doctor and looking for symptoms on the net instead. A lot of folks do that nowadays. To find out that they have brain cancer or worse. What I wanted to ask is it possible, while being in a state of shock, to confuse dream and reality? When we crashed, I kind of dozed off and had a dream, and once I could think straight, for some reason I took it for reality. But I quickly realised that it's just a dream. I didn't have memory loss or something like that. I understood who I am. It's just that the dream was very, very realistic, and it took some time for me to get it out of my mind. Please clarify, did you have this dream before or after the accident? Was he inquiring whether it was a stroke hallucination? I thought about it. Before, the crash snapped me out of it. I see. I'd say you're 80% healthy. And 20 crazy? And 20 tired, don't worry. Didn't you have similar dreams? The ones that are hard to distinguish from reality before? Yeah, I did. Stress is the guilty party. I got frightened myself and couldn't pull myself together for a minute. So I don't think that something bad has happened to you. Thanks. I feel much better now. Always happy to help. Once again, I noticed what a wonderful person Vincent was. With just a few phrases, he dispelled all my worries. In the worst case, Nolan will write an article about your hallucination. He gave me a sly wink. A wonderful man with a prickly sense of humour. For some time, Vincent was telling me about the contents of the first aid kit and then stated that it was time to put it back. I nodded in agreement. As we walked down the corridor in different directions, Vincent suddenly called out to me. Listen, Lee, can I ask you a modest question? Yeah? What was that dream about? I don't remember. That's so... Alright. At this point we went our separate ways. And now I can go wherever I want again? Library. Library. The room turned out to be rather spacious and contained more books than I anticipated. Some of their names were causing a headache. Apparently all those treaties were used by Nolan for work. Only now I noticed a girl lurking in an armchair at the back of the library. Shelving loomed over her like huge rocks. Cordelia. It was quite unusual to see her all alone. Come to think of it, there was always someone around her. Usually Unia, her younger sister. She was fully immersed in reading. The cover of the book looked shabby as if it had been through hundreds of hands. Cordelia broke away from her reading and looked at me with her piercing bright eyes. Yes? Hey, are you okay? I mean, how are you feeling? Feeling? Does your head hurt? Vince says that migraines aren't good for you. She was looking at me coldly, as if listening to speech on a foreign language. Oh, I don't think so. I had to get out of an awkward situation. I looked at the book Cordelia was reading. Is that an entertaining read? She raised it and rounded my eyes dumbfoundedly. The title turned out to be reversed, meaning she's been reading the book upside down. Is it interesting? It is. I'll take your word for it. Are you sure you're alright? Quite. Something was amiss. Our conversation wasn't going well, but I couldn't understand why. If you want, I can give it to you. She lifted the textbook to her face and peered out from behind the frayed cover with a slight glint in her eyes. Unia, it's you. Unia lowered the book and sighed. Finally, you got it. Sorry. Felt like such an idiot. Shame on me. Unia is Cordelia's younger twin sister. Unlike her, Unia preferred to speak briefly and to the point, and was not generous with emotion, but she realized I was being silly and decided to play a little prank on me. I'm defeated. Sorry. No worries. The library has poor lighting. The human eye is easily deceived by the refraction of rays. Did you know that the brain uses patterns when it perceives visual information? Scattered pictures turn into an ordered system. When small adjustments are made into a familiar pattern, the interpretation of what is seen changes. Unia enjoyed giving me a lecture on optical illusions. I delved into it, absorbing new information. After all, Unia was named Walking Encyclopedia in our group for a reason. Just like that. Very informative. But I'm really ashamed. You and your sister are so different, just like Eli and Jashini. A curious example, both of them can't sit in one place. But do they have anything else in common? A smile? No, even their smiles are like heaven and earth. It won't happen again. I believe you. I was amazed at myself. How could I confuse collected and little slow Unia with a spirited and funny Cordelia? One perceived the world as a mystery to solve, another with love to its every part, regardless of whether she understood it or not. Unlike us, Unia had chosen technical specialty and could turn an old mobile phone, chair and chewing gum into a working robot. Psychology wasn't in her curriculum, but I wasn't surprised when she decided to join us. She was probably worried about Cordelia. You're reading a book upside down? As a concentration exercise, an amusing experiment. Only Unia could think of something like this. Why'd you skip the first lesson? Listening to Eli's speeches? Not a chance. I'll join you tomorrow when the actual teacher would arrive. Unia and Eli weren't on good terms. And I'm still mad at Eli. He was the one who suggested that I travel separately without Cordelia. Forgive us, we didn't expect the road to lead us down so. He must have known. He's local. Local idiot. An unspoken and very unflattering characterization of our red-headed friend hung in the air. I won't let Cordelia go alone again. We chatted for some time and then I left her to the assault left her to her assault on the upside down textbook. And with that, I think we should wrap this episode up here because we're out of time for today. I think we're probably getting close to the end here, but we're going to check on everybody else and I guess we're going to be going to places that we're not meant to go. I mean, it's going to happen eventually anyway, right? So, whatever. Thanks for watching, Bruce, and I'll see you in the next one.